So this woman makes this series of videos where she's talking about how she fell in love with her psychiatrist. Yeah, no, it's wacky. It is wacky. And like, she just keeps going on and saying like, like he led me on. He's very smart. He manipulated me. And, she was saying like, oh, we started our sessions on Zoom and then, I wanted to meet him in person, but, he said he wouldn't take me in person. But then she called his office and they asked, do you see him online or in person? And then she like lost it. Yeah, Mom, if I were him, I wouldn't want to see her in person either. Yeah, exactly. But so she's just going on and on about how this guy manipulated her and like made her fall in love with him, because he's her psychiatrist. But like, you're supposed to confide in your psychiatrist. You're supposed to feel comfortable enough talking. No, Mom, we don't know his side of the story, but just based on her side of the story, I think she sounds like a Looney Tune. Yeah, like full Bugs Bunny. And I feel bad, right? Because this woman clearly needs a therapist, right? But like, if you're just gonna fall in love with your therapist, like, it kind of defeats the point of having a therapist, right? No, Mom, there is absolutely no way that this guy is in love with her too. Oh, because she when she did eventually see him in person, she ran up and gave him a big hug, and he, quote, barely patted me on the back. Like, oh man, like, I'm sure some people hug their therapists, but like, I feel like there needs to be a boundary here. It kind of reminded me of that episode of The Sopranos, like when Tony gets up and kisses Melfi, like in their session, like, and she's like, well, you're just very comfortable with me, and like, this is what's happening. Like, that's kind of what it feels like. And I think she handled that very well in that episode. And I feel like this guy would probably also handle it pretty well, but like, that was also a TV show and this is real life. So really, who knows? No, Mom, even if he was in love with her, he couldn't date her. That's unethical. That's like, there's a whole episode of How I Met Your Mother where the guy's like, I can't be your therapist because I have a crush on you. Like, you can't date your therapist. And if you're a therapist, you can't date your patient. That's so bad. Mom, you can't get with it, Mom.